Hi, have you ever heard of CAFOs? No, I hadn't until 2 years ago when I started to read about them. CAFO stands for Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations. In English, that means indoor farming. They've developed them to a huge extent in America, obviously, in America, first for everything. Anyway, so the largest of these CAFOs has in the region of about 50,000 head of cattle indoors and 500,000 chickens indoors. And they claim that they are much more beneficial because they don't create so many greenhouse gases. And also they don't need so much land. However, because these animals all live under one roof for the period of time that they're alive, it can generate a lot of disease. And so the people that own these CAFOs go off to the regulators and they say, excuse us, could we please use antibiotics to prevent these animals from becoming ill? And of course they get a yes. However, what they don't really admit to is that there are two particular elements within these antibiotics which are designed to make these animals grow much more rapidly and to always remain hungry. And so what they feed the animals on is fattening, because it's grain and it's soya and it's maize and it's carbohydrate, and therefore they eat this stuff which has a huge amount of calories and makes them fat. In addition, the antibiotics contain elements that enable them to grow much more rapidly and always to maintain an appetite, so that they are eating non-stop, which means that they grow at a huge rate and they are fattened up, ready for slaughter by the time, in a case of a cow, within 14 months. In the case of chickens, it's in around 6 weeks. Chickens enlarge, they can so heavy that they can't even stand on their own feet. And then off they go to slaughter. The thing is that by the time they arrive on your plate, they're much more fatty than chickens and beef used to be many years ago, before it was fattened up so rapidly. Now this is the horrible part. They've discovered in tests that in actual fact, the element of the antibiotic that they used on the animals to make them fatten up very quickly actually goes through the human chain, food chain. And so a woman who has some children and if she is an avid fast food consumer, she can pass on that gene, or it's not a gene in fact, pass on that element into her children, which means, if you think about it, that her children are born fat and born to be fat. A chap called Marty Blazer, did an experiment on mice, and what he found, he made two groups, Group A, who were fed with this antibiotic, and Group B, who weren't. Group A just about doubled in size. At the same time, Group B just grew at the normal rate. He then took scrapings from the intestines of Group A and planted them into the mice of Group B. Group A remained the same weight, they didn't lose weight even though they went back onto a proper diet, and Group B started to grow fatter even though they remained on a proper diet, meaning that this antibiotic, once it's in your system, never leaves. Think about it. There are children, I believe, being born all over the place, mainly in America, who are born to be fat and will always remain fat. Isn't that tragic? And that's the food trade for you. There's lots more horrific information coming through the pipeline. Enjoy your day.